Hi, this is Mrs. Clark, and this is my video on the application of writing an equation given the slope and the y-intercept. So we're going to read through this word problem, and we're going to annotate it a little bit as we go, just to give ourselves an idea of what is going on. So, a company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,400. That is a very big number, but camera equipment, I guess that could be very expensive. The equipment depreciates $100 per year. Let X represent the number of years since purchase and Y represent the total value in dollars of the equipment. So our first task is going to be to define our variables. So you'll notice the first question is asking what does X represent, and then followed by what does the Y variable represent. So sometimes in your word problem it will spell out for you exactly what each variable represents, but we are also sometimes going to have to define the variables ourselves. So let's go through and read the word problem one more time just to see if we have any idea of what X could represent. A company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,000, so it's something to do with money. The equipment depreciates $100 per year. Let X represent the number of years. So X represents the number of years. So right here I can write a number of years. And Y represent the total value in dollars of the equipment. So for our Y here, let's write total value. So next thing we have to look at is this piece. As the total value decreases by $100, which is the change in Y. That reminds me of this, change in Y. The year increases by 1, which is the change in X. So one thing is decreasing by $100 while the other thing is increasing by $1. So our change in Y and our change in X. That reminds me of this, change in Y over change in X, which is our M, which if you remember correctly is our slope. So this sentence here is giving me my slope. Now I read something like this up here as well. So up here it said that the equipment depreciates by $100 per year. So $100 per year leads me to, this word per here is leading me to thinking about my rate of change. So this tells me a different way of saying this same thing here. $100 per 1 year. So right here it says, as the total value decreases by 100, so here we have decreases, so that's going to tell me that this 100 is a negative 100. So if I'm looking at my change in Y, or my slope, negative 100, the year increases, so this is a minus, this increases is going to be a positive, by 1, which is our change in X, which is our denominator. So this is going to be over a positive 1. So this is how I can write my slope. Here's how it's written in words. Decreasing makes my $100 negative. Increasing makes my 1 positive. I could have gotten this up here as well. The word depreciates is another way of saying decreases, so it loses value. So that would have told me right here that my $100 was a minus $100 per year, means 1 year, so that would have told me for 1 year. So we can get that same information there up in the word problem, and also written in this sentence tells us the same idea. So this is kind of how we can interpret that rate of change being given to us up there, or that slope. Alright, so next, if the number of years since the camera was purchased is 0, the equipment will be worth $32,000. So let's look at that again. The number of years since the camera was purchased is 0. The equipment will be worth $32,400. So back up here, if I go back to the top, A company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,400. So this part right here where it says purchases camera equipment for $32,400, that is saying it's starting with a cost, losing money essentially, or spending money at the beginning of $32,400. So that's the purchase, which means that's the beginning, which means that's before anything has happened. So down here, it's saying that if the number of years since the camera was purchased is 0, that means at the time of purchase. Or at the start. So when we started, this amount, this $32,400, is going to tell us how much it was worth. So our equipment was purchased for $32,400. That's how much it's worth when the years are 0, which is at the time of purchase, which is at the beginning, which is the start time. So that means this represents our y-intercept. So our b value is going to be 32,400. So the camera equipment starts off at a cost of $32,400. And then the equipment is going to depreciate $100 per year. So it's going to go down in value. So you're essentially losing $100 worth of value every year. The next thing we have to do, now that we have our slope and we have our y-intercept, we want to make sure that, I just noticed one thing, that our slope, we have negative 100 over 1. We want to reduce this so we can actually make our final answer here, slope is negative 100. We want to make sure that we reduce it. Every time we get our slope in a fraction form, we reduce it down if we can, and in this case it'll go to a whole number. So now that I have my slope of negative 100 and I have my y-intercept of 32,400, I'm going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So remember, slope-intercept form is just the terminology for y equals mx plus b. So to fill that in, it's going to be y equals m, which is our negative 100. And then an x comes next. Then plus b, and our b is 32,400, so it's going to be plus 32,400. So that's our equation that represents the total value of the camera. So at the start, our camera was valued at, or our video equipment was valued at 32,400, but it's going to lose $100 every year after that. So our next task is going to be to create a graph. So now I have this graph here that I can fill in because it has boxes, but you can always make a sketch of a graph at home if you don't have boxes to write on, or you can feel free to pause the video, put your paper up, and trace the boxes onto your paper. So either way works. But the important part is we have to figure out, how does this equation connect to this graph? So the two pieces of information we have here are that our slope is negative 100, and that our b is 32,400. So we need to remember that we said our variables at the beginning. Our x variable represents the numbers of years. Y variable represents the total value. So down here, this is my x-axis at the bottom here. So that's going to be my number of years. That's going to be this bottom line here going across to the 0. And then my y-axis is over here, and that's going to represent my total value of the equipment. So we can actually put a dollar sign here. It's the total value in dollars, and that is our y-axis, which goes all the way up this way and beyond. So 0 is at our corner here, 0, 0. We're only using the positive portion of the graph for this. So what we have to remember is this negative 100 is going to tell me how to go from point to point. This $32,400 is what the total value was at the beginning. So this is going to tell me where I need to start. This is going to be our starting value. I'm going to start at 32,400, and where we're going to start that, this is our y-intercept, we're going to start it at the y-axis. So on this y-axis, I'm going to have to start with a point here. And then I'm going to use this slope to go from point to point. So first I need to have some numbers on here. So since looking at my slope is changing every year, I'm going to make these 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6, just a few. You can go all the way across. Some people like to go all the way across and fill it out. We don't know how much of the graph we're going to need at this point, so I can go all the way across. To go up, this is a really, really big number. So what I'm going to do first is at the corner here, I'm going to make a little zigzag, a break in my graph. It's kind of like a little lightning bolt. Right? And it's going to allow me to jump from 0 straight up to another number. So by doing that, I can start my y-axis maybe at 32,000. And then from there, I can climb 32,100, 32,200, 32,300, 32,400, 32,500, 32,600, 32,700, 32,800, 32,900, 33,000. Okay. So since I'm going to be looking at starting on the y-axis at this number, 32,400, I'm going to go over and make a point right at 32,400 at 0 years, because that's my starting value for this camera equipment. So it starts right here at this value of 32,400. Now this negative 100, if I make it a fraction, it's going to be negative 100 over 1. And so remember, negative 100 tells us that we're going to be going down 100. And this positive 1 means you're going to be going to the right 1. So from this starting point here, I'm going to go down $100 and over 1 year. So from here, if I go down $100, I'm down here at 32,300, but I have to go over 1 year before I make a point. So I'm going to go down another $100, and then I'm going to go over 1 year. And down 100 over 1 year. Down 100 over 1 year. Down, and then I'm kind of going to stop there because that's my last number. Because I have this little zigzag break in the graph, I don't want to make my line go any farther, because basically I'm kind of skipped over a bunch of graph right here, and so I don't want to go any lower with my points. So what I can do at this point, though, is I can take out something, a straight edge, something to draw a straight line with, and I can connect these together and draw a straight line. I don't even have to have a ruler. I can just use the edge of a notebook. Put an arrow here, and an arrow in this direction. And so there's the line that represents how this camera is depreciating. It's starting here and it's going down, 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 down 100. Like I said, we don't want to go all the way down to the y-axis because we skipped over a bunch of numbers, so I kind of don't want to go past these boxes here. Now, remember, we figured out this 32,400 from knowing that that was how much it was at the time of purchase. Another way of looking at that 32,400 is we're thinking of it in a table. When my x was 0, my y was 32,400. When my years were 0, my total value was 32,400. So I can always think of these x and y values in a table or in a set of ordered pairs, if that helps. Because the next thing I'm going to need to look at down here is this extended question here. How much is the equipment worth 4 years after purchase? So 4 is my years, so in this table I just made up here, 4 would go here, and I need to know the total value that's going to go here. So if 4 is my years, 4 is my x, I need to figure out what the y is that goes with this x. So this 4 years means x equals 4. So if I'm looking at my graph, I can use my graph for that. If x equals 4 on my graph, it says that the value should be 32,000. Let's just double check this quick using our equation to make sure this is correct. Because sometimes our graphs can be wrong, especially if we're estimating. So if we want to use our equation to quickly double check that, we can use this equation right here, y equals negative 100, x plus 32,400. So I'm going to fill that in real quick. If I want to know when x is 4, I'm going to substitute a 4 right here. And I'm going to calculate out what does this all equal, so I'll know my y value or my total value. So y is going to be equal to negative 400 plus 32,400. When I add negative 400 plus 32,400, I'm going to get 32,000. So we've just proved that our graph is correct, and the answer for 4 years is 32,000. So we've used our graph to come up with that. And we've also used our equation to verify that we have the same answer. Alright, so go ahead and put this into your notebook if you have not already done that, and then feel free to go on to the practice problems. Thanks for watching.